Home. Home. Got everybody full now? Got everybody full. Huh? Yeah. Where the boys at? Hi. Oh, you Diddy? How are you? Merry Christmas. Excuse me, I need the phone, guys. Need the phone. Need your phone. I need your phone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Comedian Katt Williams has never been one to shy away from controversy, and his latest revelation is no exception. In a recent interview, Williams reportedly exposed a $50 million secret party contract linked to music mogul Diddy, sending shockwaves throughout the entertainment industry. This bombshell has sparked widespread curiosity and speculation about Diddy's private affairs.
We made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way. The fight continues. We're not giving up by a long shot. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. I'm going to try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and I believe inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility.
Boozy defended Diddy, stating that what he is accused of doing is nothing new in the world of famous entertainers. He argued that flying women out for parties or intimate gatherings is a common practice among celebrities and should not be considered illegal. Boozy questioned whether it is fair to label women who willingly participate in these experiences as prostitutes, suggesting that if that were the case, then many women would fall under that category. He expressed concerns about the trafficking charge and warned that it could be used as a tool to target high-profile figures in the hip-hop community.
With conspiracy, interstate transportation. The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs threatened and coerced victims to fulfill his desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. Sean Combs led and participated in a conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out, including trafficking, labor, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended performances, male commercial workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul. Combs had been living there for several weeks. A person with knowledge of the investigation told NBC News the arrest was based on a sealed indictment brought by the Southern District of New York. His attorney tells CNN that he is currently being processed. The charges are unclear as of this moment.
This is incredibly disturbing footage, so I do want to warn our viewers, as you did. But as you said, Cassie's lawsuit, which was filed in November of 2023 and then was quickly settled overnight, it did open the floodgates. But in that complaint, Jake, she details an incident that she alleged happened in March of 2016 at a hotel in Los Angeles, physically assaulted by Diddy. Now our team in the LA Bureau, we have got our hands on that surveillance footage, and it appears to corroborate Cassie's claims identically.
We were actually the first ones here with about 30 different law enforcement vehicles at least. There are 3 Bearcats on scene here. This just all unfolded, Sandra, I would say.
You have it all figured out. You really do. You got a key to the city. You're licking toads.
Good.
I mean, and apparently you survived it. Did you have to use the ambulance, or was just there in case?
No, I have to use the
You didn't have to use the ambulance?
Known for his biting humor and unfiltered honesty, Williams claims this massive contract is tied to exclusive, high-profile parties Diddy has hosted over the years, events that remain shrouded in secrecy. According to Williams, these aren't your average gatherings. Instead, they are elaborate affairs with strict rules, non-disclosure agreements, and, reportedly, some dark undertones. Williams suggested that Diddy has been using his wealth and influence to throw private events, only inviting a select few high-profile entertainers and business figures. While the parties are famous for their opulence, Williams hinted that the attendees are required to sign confidentiality agreements before entering. What happens inside, according to him, is far from what the public might imagine. Williams also implied that Diddy has secured a substantial sum to organize these exclusive gatherings, potentially through private backers or corporate sponsors. While the exact terms of the contract remain unclear, Williams believes it reflects the immense power and control Diddy holds within the entertainment industry. This isn't the first time Katt Williams has called out Diddy, and their complex history only adds another layer to this ongoing drama.
Deal. Let's get right into it. Diddy, he got indicted. You called it, man. A few weeks ago, you was on the platform and you said that he was going to get arrested in September.
Yeah, man. Anybody who in law enforcement or people know the law, when Homeland Security ran up into his house, people will tell you, or people knew that it was just a matter of time that they was going to indict him and bring him in to see the judge, bro. It was just a matter of time. I just figured out with the grand jury and their different sessions and stuff like that, and then what one of the witnesses told me, I just figured it out that it was going to be around September that they were going to bring him in, bro. People might not understand. It's difficult when you see a brother that has so much promise become an icon as far as in the music business and stuff that he did, to turn around and just tear his whole life down. But it's all because of his mentors and the people that trained him and taught him the music business. You know, it's all about the people who trained and taught him the music business, because Puff wasn't he wasn't born a monster. You know what I'm saying? He was made into a monster, brother. Do you understand what I'm saying? He was made into a monster from the stuff that happened to him, the things that he had to do. You understand? The things that he had to do to become who he is. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like this, brother. You never like something so much that you can't do without, and you never be willing to do anything to get where you want to be at. You got to have principles, you got to have morals, you got to keep with that stuff. And in that music business, a lot of that stuff get thrown out the window. You understand? And that's what happened to him. He started doing the things to other people that was done to him. To keep it frank, he was doing the things to other people that was done to him. And it is what it is. You gotta know better. And if you know better, you will do better. When he was in New York City, he was like that gecko from the Geico commercial. Then he turned and started going, when he lived in Cali and Miami, he turned into Godzilla. I would see him talk about how he using drugs. He was never like that. Smoking cigarettes, smoking weed and everything like that, he turned into something that you could consider a monster, bro. Then he started doing things to people, you understand, that he learned. That's a learned behavior, bro. Now, I'm not saying that he may have been doing a couple of things here and there with women, stuff like that in New York, but the things that they're talking about that he was doing, bringing in prostitutes to have sex with his girl and all that stuff like that, that was some crazy stuff to me, man. So I'm just looking at this whole thing, man, and you had asked me, and we don't have these conversations like most people do. We're gonna go back and you're gonna tell me what, we're gonna talk about this. You said, I'm gonna ask you how you feel, bro. I don't want no man to ever go to jail and be leaving their kids behind, be leaving their family behind.
Since the interview aired, social media has been buzzing with reactions from both fans and celebrities. Some are shocked and in disbelief, while others are calling for more information or proof regarding the alleged contract. Hashtags like #Diddy Party Scandal and #Katt Exposes Diddy are trending, with users debating the validity of Williams' claims.
Some dudes belong in jail based on what they do and how they do it. We know that to be true. And it's just this situation, man, when they get down to all the facts and all what happened, he may belong in jail, bro. And that's not my doing. That's not Cassie doing. That's his doing and his learned behavior from the people that mentored him. You gotta realize, man, he learned from Andre Harrell. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clyde Davis. You understand? When those people are telling you that they were heavy into the drugs, they was heavy into beating women and doing things at that age, at that crazy stage, that's gonna make him think that he could get away with the same thing that they was getting away with back then. You understand? The things that he was saying, you know, the touchy-feely between two men and all that stuff like that, man. All that, he learned that from them dudes. When I told y'all the story, when me and my man went up to Russell Simmons and he had a house and he had a man in bikini drawers in his bedroom, in his bed. You understand? Bruh, this is that he learned. I'm assuming he learned it from them. Let me put that. And I'm not gonna say alleged because I saw that for my own self. My man was with me, Slick was with me, and we saw that for our own self. You understand what I'm saying? So these are behaviors and things that with drugs and all the stuff that's going on, pills, drinking, it can make this man into a monster, and that's what it did, bro. It made him into a monster, bro. I personally feel like he got a lot of the things that he did from his mentor, and then he probably did it to the 10th power. You understand? Russell Simmons admitted that he was a drug abuser. You understand? Russell Simmons admitted that he used to put his hands on women. So it's a learned behavior, bro. Some of that stuff may be in him through his childhood. Through his childhood, he may have some of that things in him, but a lot of things that he was doing was a learned behavior, bro. You just don't just turn it in a matter of years the way he was doing people, man. You understand? Check this out, bro. He led Biggs to his death. He caused a rift between Wolf and BMF that led to Wolf death. Cussed Wolf mother out. Lied about owing him $300,000. Cause you had asked me how I feel, and I'm gonna get into how I feel. Took a good friend of ours who raised money when he had the City College tragedy. a good friend of ours, did things to make him popular in Harlem. Let him hang with us, be part of our crew the whole 9 yards. Disrespected him and wouldn't help him. This is how I feel about him being locked up and going to jail. Some people, their karma is so strong for what they do and what they did. The stuff that he did to Craig Mack. You understand what I'm saying? The stuff that he did to Black Rob and all those people in the spiritual world right now. His karma was about to catch up and was bound to catch up with him. You understand what I'm saying? His karma was bound to catch up with him, brother. So, all these things that's going on right now, the learned behavior, what he got from these people who was not living spiritually correct with their behaviors and the things that they've done, he go and transfer and do that to people with the fact of all these people that he's hurt, that always helped him and been on his side and been there for him. What's happening to him now is one of the greatest tragedies that we're gonna ever read about, bro. This is going to be one of the greatest tragedies that Shakespeare couldn't write in Richard. He couldn't write it in Macbeth. He couldn't write this shit in Romeo and Juliet. This is going to be one of the greatest tragedies of hip hop, along with Pac's death, along with Big's death. And he brought it on himself because he knew that he was wrong, and he knew that he learned something that wasn't right. He no different from right and wrong, bro. You have a way to change. You know when something is right and when something is wrong, and you know if you're wrong, you get help. He didn't choose none of that, bro. He chose to be who he is, and now he gonna learn. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
Diddy, a billionaire and one of the most influential figures in the music and business worlds, has faced numerous controversies in the past. However, none have involved such a massive financial figure tied to secret parties. Industry insiders are now waiting to see if Diddy will address these claims, especially given the gravity of the allegations.
A closer look at the mountains of evidence federal investigators collected at the homes of P. Diddy leading up to his indictment. This includes things like guns, ammunition, electronic evidence, and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and personal lubricant. To understand all this and how it relates to Diddy's case, we're hearing from former CIA officer and FBI agent Tracy Walder. I'm Sierra Gillespie, and this is Law and Crime News. Major news this week out of New York, where now disgraced rapper Sean P. Diddy Combs was arrested and taken into custody. On Monday, a grand jury indicted him on multiple federal charges, including racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Homeland Security took Diddy into custody at the Park Hyatt in New York. According to his legal team, Diddy's been in the city for the past week ahead of these anticipated charges. So Diddy may have had a heads up that these charges were on the way, but it wasn't a complete surprise to the rest of us either. Federal investigators issued search warrants on 2 of Diddy's homes this spring, and that's when experts told us it's not if, but when Diddy will be arrested. We couldn't confirm then that Diddy was the target of the search, but we had a good idea what investigators were looking for: electronic evidence of alleged illegal acts like sexual assault or racketeering. These allegations date back to November of last year, when Cassandra Ventura, known publicly as the singer Cassie, filed civil suit against Diddy. She laid out some major claims against him, saying over the course of their relationship, Diddy physically and emotionally abused her, forced her to carry illegal weapons, and even made her have sex with prostitutes. The lawsuit was settled outside of court just one day after it was filed, but it was just the start of the wave of lawsuits that Diddy would soon face. Over the next few months, multiple other accusers came forward with civil suits, alleging Diddy's pattern of sexual abuse dated back as far as the 1990s. A civil suit filed by Rodney Jones, also known as the producer Lil Rod, brings these accusations into 2024. According to Lil Rod's lengthy suit, Diddy is the kingpin in a gun trafficking, drug trafficking, and sex trafficking scheme. Lil Rod also accused Diddy of sexual assault and echoed Cassie's allegation that Diddy forced him to have sex with a prostitute. Lil Rod's lawsuit includes something else that may have piqued the Fed's interest. He alleges there are hundreds of hours of video and audio recordings of Diddy's illegal behavior. We now know this is what the Feds were searching for on March 25th, when they executed search warrants at Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami. At the time, we only speculated that investigators collected electronic evidence, but now we know for sure. According to the indictment against Diddy, investigators seized more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant from his home. The court doc states these items were used in something referred to as freak-offs, which were elaborate and produced sex performances that Combs arranged, directed, masturbated during, and often electronically recorded. In arranging these freak-offs, Combs, with the assistance of members and associates of the Combs enterprise, transported and caused to be transported commercial sex workers across state lines and internationally. During freak-offs, Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant. Sometimes, unbeknownst to the victims, Combs kept videos he filmed of victims engaging in sex acts with commercial sex workers. After freak-offs, Combs and the victims typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. So Diddy's business employees allegedly facilitated these freak-offs by stocking the hotel rooms in advance with the required freak-off supplies, including controlled substances, baby oil, lubricant, extra linens, and lighting, cleaning the hotel rooms after the freak-offs to try to mitigate room damage, arranging for travel for victims, commercial sex workers, and Combs to and from freak-offs, resupplying Combs with the requested supplies, delivering large sums of cash to Combs to pay the commercial sex workers, and scheduling the delivery of IV fluids. So these items were collected during the federal raids, including narcotics and hundreds.
While some believe Katt Williams is simply trying to expose hidden truths, others are questioning his motivations. Known for making controversial statements about other celebrities, critics argue that Williams might be exaggerating the story for attention. Still, his boldness in taking on someone as powerful as Diddy cannot be ignored.
Also, electronic files of these freak-offs, and the Feds collected those too. In addition to all this, investigators seized AR-15 guns, ammunition, and a large-capacity drum magazine from Diddy's home. Since those raids in March, federal prosecutors have been crafting their case against Diddy, which led to grand jury proceedings against him. So he was indicted on Monday and taken into custody, and on Tuesday, that indictment was unsealed. Also on Tuesday, Diddy appeared in federal court where he pleaded not guilty to the charges against him. During the hearing, Diddy was also denied bail, a federal judge ruling he must remain in custody until trial. With all that in mind, let's take a closer look at what exactly the Feds collected from Diddy's homes. For that, we turn to former CIA officer and FBI agent Tracy Walder. This indictment that just came down, I know we were kind of expecting it to happen, but when it did, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I had expected, and I'd said before that I thought we'd get an indictment within 6 to 9 months. People weren't happy with me because they thought that was just too long. But it was almost exactly 6 months, actually, since the warrants were served on both of his homes. I think it's not a surprise to me because I'm glad he's being charged with this. I wholeheartedly thought that he would have a RICO, a racketeering charge. I knew that would be something that they would get him on. I was concerned that they wouldn't get him on human trafficking because sometimes that can be really difficult to prove. And I just always worry that those cases fall through the cracks and then justice isn't served for the victims. And so I was pleased to see that he was charged with that, so that hopefully he could be held accountable.
Much of the evidence that the prosecution now has against Diddy came from the federal raids. Talking about a federal search warrant, what does that look like, just generically?
Right. So in this case, and I don't recall if I talked to you about this or maybe Jesse, but when that warrant was served back in March, the question was, is if they served the warrant, why can't they just arrest him? And again, as you mentioned, they probably didn't have enough evidence at that time to do so. However, to get a warrant like that, where it's served simultaneously and, in a surprising manner, they really had to prove one of two things. The first being that evidence was imminently going to be destroyed, or that the lives of people were in danger. I believe that it was the former that they were probably able to prove, is that evidence may have been going to be destroyed, and that's why they served the warrants, and that's why they were able to serve the warrants, to preserve that evidence.
I feel like a lot of us who don't have experience in the FBI or CIA, we just picture movies or TV shows when you see people come in and opening drawers and closets and going through everything. But what does it really look like when they're there on the ground serving these federal warrants?
Yeah, I mean, in a case like this, obviously you're not making any kind of a dynamic entry. This isn't a hostage situation, right? Where that's not what's happening here. However, they did know that there would be weapons there, armed security, those kinds of things. That's why you saw those warrants being served by, for the most part, a tactical SWAT team. Simply, that is procedure to keep everyone safe. A lot of people were frustrated when they saw the video that came out of the warrant, that his home was, in, I guess, disarray. But again, and I had said this before, my gut said they were looking for digital evidence, which is in that indictment. There's a lot of mentions to digital evidence, and that's why they tore up couch cushions.
With both fans and industry insiders watching closely, the big question remains: will Diddy break his silence and address the $50 million party contract claims? Or will this controversy fade into the background? For now, Katt Williams continues to make headlines, and the world waits to see what unfolds next in this dramatic saga.